And welcome back, YouTube. This is Boosterbox Buster, here with something super exciting. Today I got for you, from the Fate Grand Order series, a 1/8 scale anime figure review of Saber Attila. Now this anime figure was made by the Good Smile Company, and I have to say, the quality is really, really high. It was pushed back 2 or 3 times from its original release date, but trust me, it was worth the wait. Attila is one of my favorite character designs from the Fate Grand Order series, and let me tell you, to finally have a true scaled figure of her is amazing. But before we get into the anime figure of Attila herself, let's take a look at the box that she was contained in. As you can see, we have very lovely window packaging here with this very awesome design. The logo, the character name, and of course, the Good Smile Company logo, and the official Type Moon sticker of authenticity. Now on this side, we have a very, very lovely image of the actual figure superimposed over this mountainous, apocalyptic type scenery, which is very, very lovely. Here are some different images of Attila on some close-ups and different poses that you could put her in, and of course a very lovely close-up of the Photon Ray itself. And on this side we have a very awesome, almost like hand-painted or watercolored image of Attila with that apocalyptic background. Very, very similar to the actual anime figure that appears on this side, and that is just so cool. I love that a lot. This watercolored background, or this watercolor image, is just so lovely. It just adds that little extra flair to the packaging. And of course, on the top, we got a very basic but cool, like a star shape or snowflake shape window packaging. Now on to the anime figure herself, Attila Saber 1/8 scale. And I have to say, this is such a great anime figure. I am super happy to own it. Now I'm gonna disclose probably the biggest issue with this anime figure first, and that is its sheer height. Because we're not just going to go 1 pop can, 2 pop cans, 3 pop cans, but if you were to add another pop can, I'd say it's from the base to the top of the Photon Ray, we're looking at almost 3.5 pop cans high. Way too tall to fit most people's display cases. Unfortunately, I tried my display case, it does not fit, so I'm going to either have to display her without the Photon Ray, which without the Photon Ray we're looking at just under 3 pop cans, which will fit most display cases, but you also lose a lot of that awesomeness, that air of the figure itself, which is very sad. So I'm either going to have to display it without that or put it outside the display case, just kind of on a open air shelf, and I really don't want to do that because dust, and it's going to get dusty a lot faster than if it was in a display case. So it's kind of that tough choice that I have to make as an anime figure collector myself. So, but that's probably the biggest issue with this anime figure. Definitely the tallest 1/8 scale figure that I own by far. It's taller than most of my 1/7 scale figures, so keep that in mind if you decide to purchase this very awesome Attila Fate Grand Order character figure. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the review proper. Alright. Alright, so as always, we're going to start with the base and work our way up. The bottom base itself is a very clear black, almost like a smoky black see-through type base, so that's very nice, very lovely. Nothing wrong with that. And then she's standing on top of what appears to be this almost like pyramid type construct, which is made completely out of a silver plastic with this very lovely V design going around the pyramid. Very, very cool, very lovely. Gives quite the authentic pose that she is in. And the foot connects to a metal stud that's protruding out of the base, so that is a very good connection point. Should be pretty sturdy. Hopefully there's no leaning issues with this anime figure. Now we move on to the shoes, which are very, very cool. As you can see, she's wearing these high heels, which have almost like an axe point to them. So if you get kicked with that, you're probably going to be bleeding a little bit. And if you get kicked without in a certain place, you might be done. You might be done, so if you know what I mean. But very lovely red and black on both shoes. No tread on the shoes, so that is a little bit of a disappointment. But that's just a very minor detail overall. Then we go up to these what do they call it? They're not socks, they're like those workout leg bands that people tend to wear. And I gotta say, those are very cute. Just very simple black on them. Nothing wrong with that. And then we move up a little bit, and then you start to see some white lines around here, which I believe is part of the character's design. So that's really cool, almost like a tattoo, but not a tattoo. I think it's more like a rune. So that's really, really awesome. That goes around the legs here, as you can see. Very lovely detail. If I could get that in the light there, very cool. And then we move up a little bit to, I'm not quite sure what exactly this is, if it's like a tattered dress or a tattered like skirt type deal, but it's very, very cool. It kind of wraps all the way around the character's waist here. As you can see, the wrapping tends to have a black outline, white stripe on the middle, and or on both sides of the middle, and then a red stripe that goes all the way around the middle. And then it goes into some very lovely, intricate designs. Almost flowing with power, which I really, really like. Like she's like a lot of power is ascending onto her, and it's just like crazy power, kind of like DBZ power, just flying everywhere. Just very lovely. And then we get to the back here, which you can see this very lovely design, and you have this metal, almost like a Naruto kunai, right on the back, which kind of holds everything together. And then you have the eye right on the middle of that blade, which is very, very lovely, very detailed. I like that quite a bit. And then around the waist here you have these frills, which kind of hold all the tattered clothing together as it's flying around. And it's ascent to power. I love that a lot. The frills look really wrinkled, like they're really textured really well. And then we move on up to the stomach of the character. As you can see, the the rune lines, the tattoo lines, continue up the stomach of the character, the abdomen, all the way around, and then we get to the bust of the character, which, as you can see, she's wearing just a very, almost like a rag around her chest there. And it's tied together by this very lovely design, which you've seen on the box itself, kind of wrapped around the entire box, so that's very accurate, very authentic. Tied up with this little ribbon. As you can see, the bra is held together with these red stripes. That on the back come together to this very lovely red bow tie. Very detailed. And then of course, as you can see on the back character, you have a lot more of the runes that run up the side as well. Very lovely. And then it looks like you also have an additional support strap that goes around the neck in case there's any to prevent any malfunctions. Now let's take a look at these what would you call them, like forearm guards? Kinda go around here. They're like ripped sleeved on the character here. Maybe they're gauntlets. They look very fabric-y though. As you can see, there's a ton of detail on this arm here. Almost looks like a pinwheel or a flower inside of a diamond shape. I like that quite a bit. And then of course it's on the other arm of the character as well. And now we have reached the make it or break it part of any anime figure, the face and headdress. Now as you can see, the face is very stoic, very non-emotional, and her eyes are just staring at you like, you lose, I win, I don't care about you, you're dead. It's pretty much just like the stoic, like almost villain-esque death stare, or hero-esque, like taken over by a ominous power type deal. Very lovely. The eyes are just wide open. The nose is very cute, and the mouth is a very just slight smile, but almost sad smile. Very, very cool. As you can see, she's wearing a metal choker around her neck, which is so lovely. And the hair itself is kind of moppy around the top here. I really don't care for this piece right here. It just looks very, very fake. When it kind of comes down around her face here, that's probably the worst part of the hair itself. It just looks like it's trying to show motion, it's trying to show action, but it's not conveying it very well. It just looks like noodles or mop, like a mop head. Just very not well done, in my opinion. And as you can see, if we can get a look, the hair really doesn't continue much past. You really don't see much underneath the headdress here, so we will move on to the headdress now. Probably the most flaring, most emotionally present piece of the anime figure itself. As you can see, the headdress is showing that like a force of power is just flying straight up, right off the ground, like it's hitting the ground and flying straight back up to send this force straight back. Just very, very lovely. The headdress itself has some very lovely tattered pieces kind of flying in the air, and then it has these little triangles to kind of represent a little bit of a design, almost an Egyptian style. Very cool. And then the top of the headdress here, you have the same pattern repeated, just in a smaller format. And then you have this very awesome symbol right at the top here, kind of giving it that little bit of a finesse, that little bit of like focal point of the actual headdress on the back. Just very, very lovely. Overall, I have to say the headdress is very well made. Just, I really wish that it was a bit more transparent. I don't know, it just feels a little like it should have just been a little bit more transparent, just not quite that dark of a white. But other than that, headdress is very, very lovely. It shows just so much emotion, just how much power that she is about ready to obtain or about ready to unleash upon her unwitting foe. Now, of course, the part of the anime figure itself that you cannot see the Photon Ray because it's too tall for my setup, I will of course detach it just to show you guys how it looks. Here it is, the Photon Ray itself. So lovely. You have all three colors, the red, the blue, and the green. When she's holding it, it's basically like this, so you see the blue and the red. Very, very lovely. You have the guard right here, just so menacing, looking evil as ever. I love that. And then you have the red pieces here as the additional guard. Just so cool. And then you have the hilt itself, or the handle and the hilt. A very lovely black and red, respectively. Now, she's not. Now, when you look at this anime figure, she's not actually holding the Photon Ray. As you can see, her right hand here, it's kind of ready to grasp it. But when she's holding it, it's kind of floating in mid-air, so it looks like she's about ready to grasp it, or she's unleashing it. She's kind of like letting it float up into the air, but she's not actually technically holding it. So that's something to note. My one worry about this is I don't know how well that's going to hold over time. It could cause the arm itself to kind of lean one way or another, or it could just cause this little plastic piece here to snap off over time, which I really, really hope doesn't happen. So, with all that information being said, that is my review of the Fate Grand Order Attila Saber anime figure 1/8 scale made by Good Smile Company. If I had to give it a score, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. I absolutely love it. The whole character herself is really well done. The hair kind of flying right here is a little bit just unnatural, just doesn't seem right. That's my biggest issue, with the main character. The sword is super well done, just like straight out of the series. The only bad thing other than the hair is the height. The height is way too tall once you add the Photon Ray to the overall figure. It stands 3.5 pop cans tall, which is going to be more height than what most people can actually put into their display cases. So a lot of people may have to display her without the true might of the Photon Ray, which does take away from the overall figure. But my final score stands 9 out of 10. definitely pick it up if you're a Fate Grand Order fan. This is Booster Box Buster, signing out.